It's operationally very important, and for the future, it's very important. And then there are the bigger questions that need to be answered. Vaccines and new drugs, and they're going to take a lot longer to come on stream. But new drugs, and they're going to take a lot longer to come on stream. But it doesn't mean we can wait.
I want to focus my brief remarks up front today on some of the supply chain issues that this situation exposes, and draw from some of the work that I did previously at FDA. Wuhan, in particular in the Hubei province, was a center for production of pharmaceutical ingredients. What goes on in China, the kind of production that they have, is actually making the starting materials for the active pharmaceutical ingredient. First chemicals that go into the API is oftentimes what's made in China, and in many cases China is the sole source for that material. What we've identified through this episode is a critical choke point in the supply chain for pharmaceuticals, and some critical pharmaceuticals. A lot of anti-infectives that are manufactured, generic anti-infectives that are manufactured in India. The starting ingredients that go into those intermediate products of the anti-infectives are actually manufactured in China.
We have to make big decisions now around the best candidate vaccines, and they're going to require huge investments. You making a decision to advance a vaccine to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trials requires hundreds of millions of dollars to be invested. And we may have to invest in multiple candidates without any certainty that one of them will work. And they're big decisions, and they're not just made by the private sector. The state sector is going to have to get involved to stimulate and take some of the risk with the private sector to advance those potential candidates. So there are big policy decisions to come, and they need to be made early in order to drive the innovation. So there is an urgency. We could go on with the list, and we also need, and it may not seem like research in the scientific sense, but we also need to have better understanding on how communities are responding to this virus. What's working in terms of risk communication.